Yeah, I mean, she just passed right before Christmas, and it's tough, it's emotional, and like I got choked up in press conference last night, and the little girl in front of me asking the question, she was crying, and I was looking at her, and it was making me cry more, and I was just like, I can't look at you no more, you know what I mean, kind of thing. So very, very emotional weekend, but it's an emotional weekend because it's the last race up here as well, and
Mile High Nationals wrapping up. Matt Hagan with the Funny Car win, joining us here in the Freak Nation. And I don't know if you could have had a more perfect weekend, Matt Hagan, grabbing the pole, getting the race win. It's your race. Did you drop the ball anywhere this weekend, dude?
I don't know, man. Our team did a phenomenal job this weekend. It was my 50th number one qualifier. We went out there and won the Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge, which was a little extra cash in my guy's pocket. And then we went out here and won the race, man. And that's hard to do. It's one of those things where up here, it's kind of like getting thrown a curveball all the time because you can't hardly keep 8 cylinders lit. And to do all that this weekend, it was my 50th number one qualifier period, and we did it up here on the mountain. Obviously, Dodge sponsored event, for the racetrack, and we're in the Dodge car, man. So no pressure, right, to win. And then and then it was my mom's birthday weekend as well. She passed away like 6 months ago. So super special. Yeah, super emotional weekend for me, to be able to pull it down and to walk away with the last trophy here at Bandimere, as a Dodge sponsored car and this whole event. It's like, it's hard to put it into words, man.
Matt Hagan, Funny Car winner from Bandimere, joining us here in the Freak Nation. Your points leader as well in the NHRA series. Is it more difficult for a driver or a crew chief to make the adjustments at Mile High?
Definitely the crew chief, man. I don't want his job at all. He can have it, and they don't pay him enough, period. You know what I mean? That's a lot of pressure. I mean, driving the wheels off this thing is something that you just kind of do naturally. You either do it or you don't. And it's just, these cars have been a handful, because there's no air up here, so there's no downforce from the nose of the body, right? So then it's wanting to pick the nose up out there in the middle of the racetrack and dance around, and you're like, just set it down long enough to steer it a little bit, and then it puts cylinders out, and you're trying to fight it back across the track and not hit the wall or not hit the center line. So I feel like I earned my money this weekend, but at the end of the day, that's what I'm supposed to do. They pay me to put my mouthpiece in and shut up and not ask questions,
Put your mouthpiece in and shut up. Yep, there's your job in the staging lanes before you get the cockpit. All right, sponsors, obviously, they pave the way for any of us in the motorsports business to do what we do. And with this being, your sponsor's race, the last one up on the mountain, that's huge. But what you said about a minute or two ago about honoring your mom as this is her birthday weekend and she recently passed, how much of that were you really carrying all weekend? Because that can be really difficult, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, she just passed right before Christmas, and it's tough, it's emotional, and like I got choked up in press conference last night, and the little girl in front of me asking the question, she was crying, and I was looking at her, and it was making me cry more, and I was just like, I can't look at you no more, you know what I mean, kind of thing. So very, very emotional weekend, but it's an emotional weekend because it's the last race up here as well, and we've had such a long-running sponsorship with Dodge and SRT and all the folks, even Mopar, I mean, it's just these folks up here, they love Dodge, and I just hate to see it go.
So for those who haven't been able to catch it on TV, was Smoke able to come over and enjoy this since he's the team owner, to enjoy it with you? I know he was racing in Ohio this weekend.
Dude, Smoke is incredible. Thank God he's got a private jet because he couldn't do it without it. I mean, he's just everywhere. I mean, like the guy's, racing his own car. He's doing the $1 million deal. He's out there on a tractor moving the dirt around for his deal and then coming back and flying all night across West Coast to be here so he can support this deal. I mean, I'm just super proud to have him as a team owner, as a friend, and just a genuinely good dude.
It's more than just a slogan. General Tire delivers for whatever you do. General Tire's Grabber X3 mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3. General Tire delivers for whatever you do. Check out GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, aggressively styling the speed freaks since 2001.
For more than 30 years, Lucas Oil Products has been solving some of the most difficult mechanical problems in the automotive, marine, and industrial industries. From our original Core 4 products, heavy-duty oil stabilizer, power steering, stop leak, transmission fix, and fuel treatment, we have now developed over 400 custom products to help solve some of the world's toughest mechanical issues. Go to lucasoil.com to see what we have in store for you. Lucas Oil, it works.
And a great NHRA fan now, too.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he's a driver, but he's become a full-blooded fan himself.
Yeah, he's great for the sport, you know, and it's great to see the people come out in groves to see him. Maybe one day my t-shirt line will be as long as his, but I don't think so.
We already talked about you getting the gold instead of the iron, but I want to ask you something that a driver told me once many years ago when he was talking about the problem of the front end coming up off the ground. He said that sometimes you have to steer against the brake in the grandstands. Does that happen to you where you have to be careful of the crosswind when you're going down the track?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely see some of that, but we make close to 10,000 pounds of downforce on a run. But where there's no air up here, there's no downforce to push that nose down. And then what happens is the nose kind of stays up, and at 300 miles an hour, that thing kind of gets air underneath it, and then it acts like a kite. And instead of getting downforce, you get uplift, and makes the front end light like that. So it's dancing around. And so when you have to make big corrections out here on the racetrack to get it to look like it's going where it's supposed to. So it was one of those things where every run we had out there this weekend was just, putting cylinders out and trying to keep it in the groove. And, it was a handful, but that's what makes it fun, man. Like if it was just like, okay, hit the gas and go to the other end, I don't think I'd be doing it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like getting on a bull. You don't know how it's going to come out the gate. You know what I mean? You know it's coming out, but you don't know how it's going to come out, So it's just
Wow.
That's why we do it. It's so adrenaline filled and so intense, and 330 miles an hour. And up here, you never know what you're going to get. I've been up here to Bandimere, and I've blown up 3 or 4 bodies, and I've left with less points than I started with. And I'm like, well, we just spent $200,000 and had less points. It's like, why did we come up here? But at the end of the day, it's been amazing. And pull down 2 ollies up here over my career, and to finish with the last one is just it's pretty badass.
Now, in our 23 years of being on the air, Matt, I've had several conversations with some guys, and they've told me that they don't bring anything back to the crew chief talking about how to drive the car, that they leave it all up to the crew chief. But what you described there was some serious driving. Do you share any of that with your crew chief to help you get down the road?
Absolutely. I really pride myself on really having a good feel for the car, which I should, because I've had a lot of years out here doing this. But, what I'll try to do is obviously, like our first round, we ended up going out there and it wore a lot of clutch, and it put a cylinder out, and then it smoked the tires. And I went back to the crew chief and I said, hey, man, it's the clutch is wore out of it. A lot of dust in there. It put a cylinder out on the right side at about 400 feet, and then it smoked the tires as the clutch was coming to it. And then we went and looked at the graph, and everything that I said, it had lined up to what it's supposed to be on the graph. So that's, to me, is having a good feel for the car is really important, because there's a lot of times that the computer won't work or something happens, and you have to kind of go back and tell the crew chief what happened. Not all the time, but it's just, for me, it makes me know where I'm on the racetrack, what I'm doing, what the car's doing, what side the cylinder went out, and what it's doing there, just being aware of everything that you're doing. I had a 008 light in the semis against Caps, and cut my eyes over and make sure it was still green. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of, at launch, you would think, man, you can do that, but your mind slows everything down for you, and you know where you're at on the track and what you're doing. Hopefully, as if you're a good driver of it.
The Bommarito Automotive Group 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway is not just a race, it's a spectacle. It's time to mark your calendar. Saturday, August 26th and Sunday, August 27th. 2023 is bigger and better than ever before. Get ready for the wildest festival of speed in the Midwest. Go to WWTRaceway.com now, because the first deal is the best deal.
All right, Matt Hagan, NHRA Funny Car winner from Denver. And I'll end it with this, man. We couldn't do SpeedFreaks if nobody gave a crap. If we didn't get feedback, we didn't get people bitching and moaning about things we said. Could you drive as fast and as badass as you could if you couldn't fill every seat in that house at Bandimere? If you had 30 people in the stands, would you be as badass as you are?
I tell you what, brother, it was so incredible to do a burnout this weekend. And, you know, as I'm backing up, taking the time to look over, and it was a packed house. Every seat was full. The fence was full. There was no place to stand. You couldn't hardly get through the staging lanes to get up here to run your car. It was just incredible, man. Like it was something that it awed me, honestly. And I was just blown away by the people that came out to see this last race. And I had to get picked up at the road today on the golf cart. Like I couldn't get in, you know, and it's just like, you know, we had a 9 a.m. warm up time, and we had TV hits that we were trying to do. And I was down there, you know, a mile away down the road, and they had to drive the golf cart down there to get me, you know what I mean? But like, that's how many people showed up. And it was just incredible, man. It honestly was incredible. It was definitely badass.
Bandimere winner, Mile High Nationals, flying the colors for Dodge Motorsports, Mopar, and everybody else there on the side of the planet. Buddy, thanks for doing this, Hagan. We're awfully proud of what you did. Yeah, showing the gold to the Freak Nation. It's badass, partner.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on the show. And like I always, we can't do it without our, you know, the sponsors, and the sponsors can't do it without the fans. You know, the folks that go out and buy the Mobile One oil and the Hellcats and the funny cars, all the stuff, you know, that they support and what we do, all the stickers on the side of the car. We can't win every race, and if you win every race and the championship, it don't pay for what it runs the car. So the folks that go out there and support the sponsors that support us, your guys' fans, your guys' listeners, you know, when you're looking at something on the shelf and you're like, man, that's, you know, they support a drag racer, and they pick it up and buy it, it goes a long way. So thank you to your listeners and our fans.